Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this week we have a John Deere headstock in that needs some attention. So this is off a John Deere, I'm not entirely sure what model of loader it's off, 3800 maybe, something like that. But yeah, as you can see, she's pretty worn. So all that needs line boring. And then, well, that's pretty bad. This pin here, it's not a very good way of holding the pin in, so they have a slot like milled into the pin and a plate that goes into the slot, but then the bolt snaps off and then the pin comes out, or it wears everything, and then it's, as you can see what it's done to that. And then even on the good side, it's still very worn. So yeah, she's in a pretty bad way. So there's that to sort out. Then there's this linkage here that's bent, and I'm guessing them holes are probably worn as well. So we'll have to have a look at that. And then there's also this big linkage as well to sort out. You can see with that, it's ripped that open there and cracked all the way through. So with that, I'll probably just make a new one of them. I have some 50mm plate because it's bent as well. When it's cracked that, it's bent it as well. So rather than trying to weld that up, I think I'll probably just make a new one of them. But we'll worry about that when we get to it. So I'm going to set the line bar up and get these ones sorted first. I'm going to use the S-Power because I can use the bar welder as well to weld them round. Last time I did one of these, I used my own homemade line barer, but I had to weld these up by hand and it was quite difficult. So if I can use the bar welder, I will do. I've just noticed on the top here that is cracked all the way through there, and there's another crack across there. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with that yet, but anyway, we'll get this one sorted. We'll get them done first. Right, so I've got them bearings mounted on there now. I put that one on that end, on one of them like block bearings, because I didn't think the line bar would fit on. I thought it'd be too close, but then I think it will do. I think so. I put one of them ones on this side, and then I've got one in the middle just as a bit of extra support, because it's quite a distance from one bearing to the other, especially when it's only the 35mm bar that I'm using. Right, that's all them four cleaned out and a little bit taken out of them. That'll give me a better thickness of weld as well when I weld them back around. Okay, we'll take that out now and put the welding torch in. I'll have to remove that middle bearing, but I made the hole in that plate big enough for the welding torch to fit through. So yeah, we'll do that one, that one, that one, and then that one. I have to remember how this goes together. So that's your end piece, and then you like your cable screws onto that, and then I think you just use however many extensions you need to get to where you need to be. So to get to there, I'll need however many extensions I need to get from there through to that end. Now that's your end piece as well, because it's got a thing in it for the cable to go through. Right, we're all set up. I think we should be good to go. So 125 amps, 19.5 volts, which is the same as what I did last time I used it. So hopefully we should be right again. So we'll press the button and see what happens. It might take a while to get going till it gets into the hole, but I don't want to start it too far in the hole and miss the first bit. So see how it goes at that. Right, that's the first run of weld done. Went alright. It was a bit bubbly on that last bit, but it was sort of not getting the gas coverage. I'll have to do that bit by hand. You see it's worn into like the collar. I've got it set up again. I'm going to put another pass through it. I'd rather have too much weld than not enough when it comes to boring it back out again. So if I do 2 passes through them all, then we know I've got enough weld. Right, that's that last one welded up as well, so we'll take the welding torch back out and put the boring bar back in again now. It's hardly at the right angle for these smaller bars. This is like a 50mm bar, but it doesn't quite point at the right angle, so like the first bit doesn't always get enough weld. But hopefully we've got enough in there. Last time I used it, I did have to modify it a bit and bend it to shape. Right, so I've got the tool set up in there now, just to do the first cut through, so I can do that one and that one without having to move the tool. I have enough travel on there. But I've just set that, so the S-Power comes with this measuring thing. I've just used that to set me tool stick out, so I've got 14mm tool stick out, which then should get me through to 49mm for the first cut, and then I'll do a second cut. I'm not quite sure how accurate this will be for doing the second cut, but it works quite well for just getting your tool stick out something like right. Right, I've got run through both of them now for the first cut. I think what I forgot to do is build that up with weld, because you can see it's below the surface. So I'll take the bar back out again, build that back up, and then I'll maybe do the same with this one. I'll grind them bits off and then build that back up before I line bar them. Them ones are alright, I think. Right, so I've got them two done. So I've sort of faced them off and chamfered them as well. There is a little bit under there, I haven't quite got enough weld, but we'll see what it's like when I've got it, when I've got the bar out. So yeah, that's that side done. So I need to move on to this side now. So this bar here is 1200 long, and then just this morning, this bar has turned up. This is 1800 long, 35mm bar. So I was going to buy this bar anyway because like the 1200 is not sometimes, it's sometimes not long enough. So I messaged Jonathan, who I bought the line bar and the S-Power kit off, about one, and he says, oh, I'll send you one free of charge. So thanks, Jonathan. I don't really know why he sent me it free of charge, but I didn't ask any questions, so yeah, thanks very much for that. I think Jonathan at AJA Group is the only distributor in the UK that sells this S-Power stuff. So if you Google AJA Group, this is them, and then there's a website. They must do a lot of fire and rescue equipment if you're into that kind of stuff. Or if you scroll down a bit further, there's lineboringmachines.co.uk. If you click on there, and it says AGA Group Limited is the exclusive UK distributor for S-Power. There's a contact number, or you can click on the WhatsApp button if you're interested in an S-Power machine. It doesn't come with all these boxes. It just comes sort of like as it would have done when it came from China, but it fits really well in these boxes. So yeah, if you're interested in one, that's where I got it from. It does come with a 50mm bar as well, but I've never actually used that yet. All the jobs I seem to do, I need the little bars for. So anyway, we'll take that bar out and put this longer one in, and then we don't have to keep moving the tool from a hole to hole, because it doesn't look like it'll match up as well for the second side. Right, that's better. I've got a bit of length to go out now. Oh, that's what she said. So I'm on the last cut now, so I've just been through that one to final size. And I'll just go back and then to that one. I've still got to move this sleeve down a bit, just how it works out. You just undo that, move it, and then tighten the sleeve back up again. It was easier to adjust the tool with it in the middle than it was with it there. So yeah, done one, done the other, adjusted the tool, done one, done the other, and then I'm on the third cut and final cut now to take it out to 50.1 or 50.05, somewhere in that area. It'd be nice to do some big bores. These, when you read on the Facebook group, line boring Facebook group, nobody likes doing little bores like these. Everyone likes to do the bigger bores. These are just hard work. Right, that is them bored out to size and then faced off and chamfered as well a little bit. Obviously these are not dead true, because in some places there it's sort of digging in at one side but then the other side it's not taken all the weld off. So these must not be dead true with the bar. I just think when they're welded on when they're new, they're not really put on with as much accuracy as what it is line bar in it. They'll just be put on a pin slid through or put in a jig and then welded up. They won't have been line barred from new, I don't think. They certainly won't have been faced off from new either. So yeah, we'll take all that off now. Well, maybe leave that bar in actually, or leave the bearings on, and then we can set the second bar up on here off this first bar and make sure they're parallel. But say there's some repairs to do on here yet before we start line barring that. So with that crack there, you can see that one, and there's one there. I think what I'll do is I'll gouge them out with the arc air gouger and then weld them back up again. Last one I did, but it ripped out through here somewhere I think, so what I did is I chopped it off and welded a new one on. But I think this one I can get away with just welding it back up again. And then I have to grind all that off and see if there's any cracks on that side as well. Doesn't look like there is. Right, so I've got them cracks gouged out. That one wasn't that deep. That one sort of went all the way through pretty much to there. So I've gouged right out up to that bit, that extra bit that's welded on. I took it off the bench because I didn't want the torch, if I had a rod in it, to touch my bench and like gouge a hole in it. So I thought best take it off there. And I can also get to it better as well. And I gouged the first bit out with a plasma gouger and a plasma torch, the gouging nozzle in. But then I couldn't quite get full depth, so then I changed onto carbonate gouging and managed to get in a bit deeper, and then went in with a die grinder and ground it out as well. So there's a little bit more to die grind out of there where I've missed, just to get to clean metal, and then they're ready to weld up. Right, that's that welded up. That might want a bit more weld on there. But that needs boring through anyway, bar welding and boring through, so I'm not too worried about the inside just at this moment. So I need to sort this side out now. So I'll grind all that off where it's sort of mushroomed it out. And then with this side, because it has that slot in it that holds a pin in, I won't be able to bar weld over that because it will fill the slot in with weld, and then I won't be able to open the slot back out again. So I think what I'll do is I'll chop this off, it's just welded on the side, and then once that's off, I'll bar weld this back up to size, and then I'll make a new one of these that's undersized with a slot milled into it, weld it on, and then line bar the whole thing through afterwards. I think I might actually leave that on and see if I can weld round it. The S-Power does have an option to do like stop in different places if I work out how to use it. But anyway, yeah, we'll grind that off and then we'll go from there. Right, so I've got it back on the bench now. I got all that ground out, all that dodgy bit. And then I got the second bar in, and I'll just set it up with the centering cones again just to see what it's going to be like. And it's actually, well, I've had to die grind a little bit more out of one of the holes at one side to get the bar further down, but it's nearly, well, it's right now where it needs to be. When I first tightened them up, there was a bigger distance between here than there was at the other side, so I said I diagrammed a bit out of there, and now this distance from here to here, from the centre of the bar to there, measures the same as it does at the other side. And then I've checked it with my angle gauge, so I've sat that in the middle there and on the bar there, and that reads within 0.3 of a degrees. And then I've also put that straight edge up there, and then sat this straight edge across there, and then sighted them across from one to the other, and I can see there's no run out. This straight edge and that straight edge are parallel. I could do with making some adjusters so I can adjust the bar, but luckily I've managed to get away with them, these alignment cones this time. So yeah, we'll get the bearings sat on, whether I take that one off now or whether I use the other one of them on this side. But yeah, I'll get them set up. Alright, so we've got that set up. We'll just give that a pre-cut now, out to 63mm. Alright, I've taken the tool out now, but that's pre-cut. It's not quite cleared all the hole up. Well, it's not never going to do in there because there's a lot missing out of there. There's a bit missing out of there, but that one I'll build back up again. And what I think I might do with this one is I might try and build it up by hand first, that's missing, and then put the line and then put the bar welder in and finish it off with that, I think. Right, I've got these welded up then, so I've done 2 runs of welding there, and I've only done one run of welding here so far. I sort of managed to avoid that slot by stopping it welding. Then there's a test run button, so you press the test run button and it keeps moving without welding, and then when it gets to the other side then press the auto weld button again. But from on that side it's gone real bubbly and horrible, so I'm going to take the torch out, bar this one through again so it's round all the way, because I was sort of struggling to get right to the outside, so because it sort of tapers out as a hole. So I'll bar that one through, see what it's like, and then if need be I can put some more weld in it. So we're just doing the first cut through this one now. This one I had to put it through and then put some more weld in it. Just wait for that to cool down before I start cutting that one. I'll do this one first. First cut on this side now, going back that way. That's the final cut through that one. Right, so that's all them done then. I've faced them off, sort of, and then countersunk them. Just wants cleaning up with the grinder, because it's touching at one side, not the other for some reason. But yeah, I'll take all that off now, because that's the line boring done on there. Right, so that is a headstock sorted. So I've ground all the old bits of weld off where I had everything welded on. And I noticed that bolt in there had snapped off, and someone had tried drilling it through and then had given up. So I drilled it through with 8.5 to really tap it out to 10mm, and the old bit of thread just threaded out. So whoever had a go at that before had just given up too early. So that's back to how it should be. And that's one of the old pins. Well, it must have had a new pin in at some point. This pin is not for this hole, but it's for the other linkage, but it's the same size. That fits nice in there. You can see that pin, there's no wear on it. It's worn like the coating off, it's been plated. It's worn the plating off, but it hasn't actually worn into the pin. So that's a nice fit through there. And then I managed to get in there with a die grinder and die grind the bits of weld out that had got into that slot. And that fits. It does, if you knock it in with a hammer, it does fit and then line up with the bolt holes. So that's good. What I think I'm going to do when that's in there where it should be, I'm going to weld a block underneath it. So then it's not just relying on the bolts, it's pushing actually on a physical stop. And then same with the bottom hole. That's a bit of 50mm pin. It's a nice tight fit in there. So yeah, that's all them sorted. I'll have to make some new pins for the bottom because the old ones are too worn to go back in again. So that one's all right. That's not. I'll have to make a pin for here because the old one was all mullered up on the end. That's the original pin for the top, and it's all mashed up around the end. So I'll have to make a new one of them. But I'll worry about the pins later. I'll get on with that other linkage now that needs repairing, or make a new one of. Right, so onto this linkage now. So yeah, like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, I think I'm better off making a new one of these rather than trying to repair this one, because it'd be a fairly major job trying to weld that up. I'd have to chop this out because it's split all the way through, and I'd have to V that out, weld it back up, and then I'd have to try and press it straight, because when you look down there it's bent, which then, because it's bent, will mean that this hole's bigger than what it's supposed to be. So I'd have to try and press it straight to get it straight again, and also to make that hole back round to the right size. Yeah, I'd have to V all that back out, weld that back up, and then I'd have to make a new one of these and then weld that in. So I think rather than, well, I haven't got anything strong enough to press it straight. That big 50-ton bottle jack might do it, but it's 50mm thick and it's all that bit there, so you need a hell of a lot of force to try and make that straight again. Now, I don't have anything for the bottle jack to press against that'll be strong enough. So yeah, I think I'm better off making a new one. Won't take much making. I have some 50mm plates, so I can profile out a new piece of plate, and then I can put it on the mill one end through, mill the other end through, weld that. I have some of that 100mm solid that I got for that axle I did last week, so I can use that for the middle pivot, and then bore that through as well for the bush to go in. Then it just needs drilling for grease nipples. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a new one. So could I take a picture of this and trace round it? But then the trouble with doing that is it's bent anyway. So I think what I'll do is I'll just take my centre measurements off there, and then I'll just draw it from scratch. Most of it should be fairly straightforward to draw. Maybe this bit, just getting that in the right place. Well, no, it should be fairly straightforward. Yeah, I think I'll just draw it rather than try and take a photo of it and trace around it. You'd think when you were taking something somewhere to get repaired, you'd clean it off first. Look, why do I have to deal with all this grease? I think I'm going to start charging people a cleaning fee. Right, so I've got that set up. So I've got that square on there, which that's butted up against. And then I've got these on here just to keep it parallel. And then I've got that square at one side of the hole and that one at the other side. So then I can use these lines, because these are 100mm spacing. So I've got 100, well, I've got 0, 100, 200, 300, 400mm. And then off that there, I've got about 28mm. So that's 428mm from the end of there to that there. And then if I do the same from there and I can work out exactly where the middle is, or I can just measure across there and work out where the middle is. That's been 100mm originally, but because it's cracked, it's opened up and it's like 104mm now. 104, 105mm. So 128, 428 did I say, plus half of 104mm. So that gives me a measurement from that centre mark, or that centre hole, centre of that hole there to the end of here at 480mm. I put that square on there and clamped it up as well to square this up, and then I can also get a better measurement from here to the bottom of there, which is 128mm. So, well, I've got that as 420, but that's from the centre rather than from the outside. So that's them measurements. Just need to work out this bit now. Right, so I think that's right then. Obviously it's the other way around. But I think all my measurements are right. What I'd usually do, or what I sometimes do with stuff like this, is just is cut one out of some like thin material first. But I think I should be right with that. I've checked all my measurements. This is this bit mainly. Rest of it's fairly simple. But yeah, I think we're right at that. So I'll have to get this bit of plate shifted off. I'll have to bring the 50mm plate in, and I need to go and get some more oxygen as well, because one of my oxygen bottles is empty. So I'll go and do that. Right, we've got the 50mm plate on then. That's ready to go. Got it zeroed where it needs to start to fit the part in without catching any of the bits that are already there. So when I cut these bits out, well, that was when I had my old Magic Eye profiler. And for the pierces, what I did is I drilled a hole first, and then didn't have to blow through the full thickness of the steel. But I don't really fancy having to drill a hole through it, so I'm going to try with this torch and see if this one will pierce through. The other one would have done, but it just took a long time to preheat it. So yeah, there's 3 holes to cut out, so we'll try and pierce through them, and then on the last cut for doing the outside shape of it, I can start from the edge, so I won't have to wait as long for it to preheat. But I might have to pierce through it, stop it, clean off the slag, and then go again, because if it doesn't cut where it pierces through, and if it melts onto the top, it won't cut through that, so you have to chisel it out of the way. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. So we've got the right nozzle in, we've got a 50mm nozzle. Gas pressures should be the same still. So yeah, I'm good to go, I think. Right, that's that cut out. Looks like it's cut out pretty nice. I've lifted fair slugs of them. Yeah, I had to, once it pierced through, I stopped it and cleaned all that stuff off. Otherwise, if it tries to cut over the top of it, it sort of puts the flame out or stops it cutting. Then you end up with a big mess. So I think I'll stick the magnet on there and lift that out with the forklift. And then obviously I'll have to wait for it to cool down before I can do anything with it. Actually, what I'm going to do while that cools down is I'm going to make this centerpiece here. So that's 100mm round bar. Or I'll have to make out 100mm round bar. Drill through it. And then I won't quite drill it out to size. Or bar it out to size. I'll leave it a bit undersized. And then once it's welded in, I'll put it on the mill and then bar it through at the same time as I bar them through. So that bit of 100mm offcut there, I can use that. So I'll chop that down to length and then we'll put it in the lathe and drill it through and then bar it through. Good job I left my saw in here, and good job I haven't taken it back yet, otherwise I'd have struggled to cut that 100mm round bar. So that'll be near enough, I think. I might have to take a little bit off the diameter anyway. Depends whether it'll fit through the hole that I profiled out with that other bit of plate. So anyway, we'll get the middle bored through now. Well, I think I'm just going to drill it with that. And then I think I'll make that do, and then I'll do the rest in the mill. Right, I've got that drilled through, and then I went through with a boring bar, but it was a bit chattery, so I'm not going to take any more out with that. I'm going to chamfer it, but what I need to know is whether the outside diameter is going to be the right size to fit through that plate that I've profiled out. So I think I'll lift that off the profiler now, and then I'll make sure that 100mm can fit through there, and if not, while it's in the lathe I can turn it down a little bit. Just maybe wants die grinding out a little bit as well. So the cut quality on that is really good. That's mint, is that? Yeah, that is very good, is that? I'm well pleased with that. Real nice cut quality. So yeah, that bit in the lathe, I think if I turn it down to 99mm, it should fit in then. A bit of die grinding around there as well. But yeah, no, I'm well pleased with that. Even the edge is real sharp. It's not melted the top edge, not melted the bottom edge. I've cleaned all the scale off that with the grinder, but that's what it looks like if you just knock it off. There's a bit, you always get that bit where it started and stopped, but it's good as that.